Welcome to Resource Thursday here on MSP Unplugged. I'm your host, Paco LeBron. This podcast is where we discuss different ways to run your IT business, whether you're a one-person shop, have multiple employees. This is the place for you. Let me go ahead and introduce my co-host. We have none other than Rick Smith over at Renactus Technology. Rick, how are you today?
Doing good, Paco. Can't complain. Happy Thursday to everybody.
Happy Thursday, or what I like to call Friday Junior. Let me go ahead and introduce our guest today. We have Heather Harlos, who is the head of marketing over at JumpCloud. Heather, how are you?
I'm doing great. What about you?
Better than good, better than most. I can't complain here. And we also have Katie Clouse.
That's right.
Katie Clouse, who is the head of MSP sales over at JumpCloud as well. Katie, how are you doing this morning?
I'm great. Thanks for having us. Happy to be here.
Very good, very good. While I try and battle these sensor lights that will continue to keep plaguing our episodes, I like to talk about what we love to talk about here is our upcoming in-person show, TechCon Unplugged. It is officially back September 16th to the 18th in Chicago at the Hilton Rosemont, Chicago O'Hare. Learn from other like-minded businesses, get real takeaways to bring back to your business, and most importantly, tap elbows to enjoy one-on-one conversations, because really that's what you remember from these type of things is either the food, the booze, or the one-to-one conversations that you have to there. We don't condone drinking. However, we do know that we need a nightcap every so often to help ease the nerves of these crazy times that we are in today. Tickets are $2.99, but we have a early bird special for $1.99 until April 4th. So you can go ahead and get your tickets now at techconunplugged.com. You'll see some of the vendors that have signed on with us already. Schedules are coming soon, and we hope to see you there. All right, ladies. So JumpCloud, a name that the community should know, and we're over here at Prodigy Techs, a partner of JumpCloud for disclaimer. But Heather, why don't you kind of tell us a little bit more about kind of what JumpCloud is all about for those that may not know?
I'll actually let Katie take this one. I think from a sales side, she's the better one to answer it.
Sounds good.
All right, perfect. So at our core, JumpCloud is a cloud directory platform, but our mission is to connect any user to any device, any application from anywhere. So we really are all about the user, securing that user identity management, and that can be seen throughout the entire JumpCloud platform.
Very cool. I couldn't have said it better myself. I think,
this is why she answered.
And JumpCloud has been around for how long now?
So we've been around for almost 10 years. I believe it's going to be our 10-year birthday anniversary coming up this year. But really, we've made significant changes and huge investments here in the last 2 to 3 years.
Very cool. Yes, I did see that in the past fall that there was a huge investment into the platform, which just speaks to the testament of what the platform has been doing, and really what you all have kind of planned coming up here for as well.
Absolutely. And I think what Heather and I are most excited about is it's really the expansion into the MSP market on a global scale that helped drive that new investment. So it's our partners who are directly benefiting from that latest round.
Gotcha. And now where is JumpCloud based out of again, or headquartered?
We are in Colorado. Louisville, Colorado is our headquarters, but we are now a fully remote company. So we have employees around the globe.
Gotcha. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I was first introduced to JumpCloud because we were looking for some type of control in a domain-less or domain controller-less environment. And as we kind of looked on some of the research, we really loved the way that JumpCloud at the time had their presentation, their offerings. Can you talk a little bit more about how JumpCloud has really been adopted by some of your partners here, probably in maybe even in the recent years, now that everyone's kind of went remote work?
Yeah, so we see a lot of partners come to us for a very specific use case that they need to fill, right? I have one specific client, I don't know how to approach this, and they've heard of JumpCloud, but they don't know a ton about us. And once they dive in and they see the breadth of the platform and everything that we can do, this really is a tool that we see MSPs standardizing their business on. And that's been a very big shift for us, which is really exciting as we have partners starting to adopt JumpCloud across their entire business.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, for us, I mean, I think the real big takeaway for us was the simplicity of really utilizing the platform. I think for me and Rick, we were utilizing at one time Microsoft Intune and trying to navigate that entire platform. How long did that take us, Rick, to try and get that down to like have it for one client and then try to standardize that across all of our clients?
I was just thinking about those nights, talking about it. We'll do this, do this.
And so, and this is something that I think a lot of IT service providers, MSPs really have this issue where they're just trying to get something done so they can move on to the next, so they can continue running their business. But this is such a key piece to that business. What I also really love about JumpCloud is the ability of the mixed environments. You have the ability of standardizing mixed environments with one control panel, because you do support Windows, Mac, Linux, I believe. And you recently just came out in the past year, I believe, or maybe early or late 2 years ago with your Apple MDM or mobile device management platform a little bit. How has that been successful for you guys, or you all, for kind of diving into the Apple ecosystem?
It's been huge for JumpCloud and our partners. I have this conversation with partners all the time, where if we go back and we look at your average SMB client maybe 10 years ago, it was all Microsoft. It was Windows devices. Like maybe there was a BlackBerry server that you had to deal with, but that was really the only outlier, right? And the way we work has changed, but also what these environments look like has changed. And so it's very rare that I talk to an MSP and every client is totally standardized on Microsoft. And so when you take that out of the equation, and exactly like you said, JumpCloud, we're agnostic. We work with any OS, any device, whatever you have, we have a solution for you. It becomes that much easier for an MSP to run their business and support their clients how they want to work. The Apple piece specifically is very exciting. There's a few different components there. So we have the iOS management, and the mobile device management, which we've been making huge advancements in. That's very exciting. We also work with Apple Business Manager, where MSPs can drop ship computers directly from Apple. They show up to a remote employee. That employee logs on, they're ready to go with their JumpCloud identity configured. That's a real game changer for a lot of partners, especially those heavy working with Apple.
Very cool. Yeah, I think that it kind of, at least for us at the time when we were using it, because we use it specifically for we have several scenarios where we use JumpCloud for our own internal purposes for our clients. And so one area is the mixed environments, as I mentioned, meaning that these could be a mix of Windows PCs, Mac PCs with the MDM, which was a huge component that allowed us to kind of streamline a lot of the things that we were trying to do. And then you have the other type of mixed environment where there are small businesses that are allowing their employees or their staff to bring their own devices to help being managed. And this allowed for that ability to have that standardized platform that every IT service provider tries to at least strive to. Maybe Heather, you could probably chime in on, as far as, has there been any like case studies of how a transition to JumpCloud has maybe either saved the MSP time or money or both to help improve their MSP services?
Yeah, there's, tons of them. Actually, I probably got 3 requests for them in the past week internationally between North America, EMEA, and APJ. So tons of partners are really just giving feedback that it's allowing them to do more with less, I would say, and really focus on what matters to them and growing their business, which is then where we bring in the partner program, where we can help sort of put gas on the fire for them, give them the right resources they need, help them with business planning, marketing planning, and things like that as they move forward.
Well, and speaking of resources, I know that about a couple of years ago, JumpCloud released a university that allowed the ability to really dive into the platform. Can you share a little bit more about how that resource has really helped partners jumping into the platform?
Yeah, definitely. So we have classes in there with courses around what does a cloud directory look like? How do you manage it? We also have how do you sell? How do you position in there? We have the deep dive for the engineering staff where they can go and get certified and feel really comfortable getting up and running. And we're currently in the progress of actually implementing a new platform that'll be a lot better than what we have right now. That'll have a lot more functionality. So more to come with that, but we do have several courses already.
Very nice. And I know that the platform has been geared, or at least been modified a couple times to have a really great multi-tenant portal. I know that was a recent addition into the platform itself that allows the ease of use of kind of mapping and kind of getting a full view of all the clients in there. Utilizing something like that on a multi-tenant portal, has MSPs really mentioned that has been a huge time saver of having something like that compared to like, let's say like an Intune where you have to go on an instant by instant basis?
Absolutely. Yeah. The multi-tenant portal is crucial, especially if you're going to use JumpCloud across your client base. We've made significant investments there as well. We came out with a rebranded UI last year. Feedback has been very positive, and we're also now integrating with various PSA tools. And so a lot of the information in the multi-tenant portal is now funneling back to the MSP PSA tools. We actually have our ConnectWise integration is going live this month, which we're really excited about.
Very cool. So why don't we talk a little bit about the integrations, because I feel that you all have this vast library and catalog of a lot of integrations of not only just to MSP tools, but a wide variety of tools that can either pull information in or even be launched in, similar to like the My App portal in like Microsoft. There's an ability to create a portal of that sort for users. Can you talk a little bit more about how you've been vetting and bringing on more of those software that end users may be using?
Yeah, so we have a really vast library of SSO connections. Almost any app you can think of, it's in there. But what's fantastic is the way the platform is built. If your client's using an app that's not in there, it's very easy for you to still provide SSO access through JumpCloud. So that's going to be one piece of it. Another thing that we're doing are integrations with different HRIS tools. And that is something that's hugely valuable, especially when you look at employee lifecycle management. And so that's another area where you'll see us expanding, looking at the JumpCloud ecosystem.
Very nice. Now, Rick, as far as SSO, some people love it, some people hate it. Where's your stance on getting into single sign-on, on trying to help alleviate some of the ailments of your clients / ease of use, trying to get them to just have one login to kind of rule them all?
Well, it's kind of like we tell everybody, hey, use unique passwords, use different usernames, unique passwords. That's what we've been training them on. And now we say, hey, you don't have to do that anymore. Just go here and use the same one for everything. So it's kind of that 50-50 split where you have to explain now, hey, this is why we're doing it. And that's what becomes important. As long as your clients trust you and understand you're giving someone the best and, what's best for them, then it works. But it's interesting because I could just remember the other day having a conversation with a client, say, hey, we're going to switch and you could use your same Microsoft password, your same Microsoft sign in for everything. She said, you told me don't use the same password all the time. So, it's one of those balancing acts, but it's a step in the right direction and they understand that. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, we're a huge proponent of SSO. I think for me, and just listening to some of the subject matter experts in the industry, like Matt Lee, who we had over on the show last time, and over at Cyber Matt Lee's YouTube channel. He's also over at PAX. Where SSO is such a great opportunity to allow for control and for protection as well, because not only can you limit a lot of exposure with that type of technology, you can figure out where to cut it off and sign out of all sessions. But I think what is really cool for JumpCloud, and we've talked about this in previous episode, and kind of why I adopted it for some of my clients, is the ability of not only being able to deploy profiles onto a particular system, you have the ability to quote unquote absorb a profile. So you can actually take over local accounts as if they are a Cloud Directory account that was created from scratch, and have the same ability to either control for policies, have the ability, in which we'll go into that in a little bit, where the great policies that are really easy to apply. And you have the ability to not only do 2FA, not only on the apps, but on the system itself. And I think that's a piece that has really been quote unquote missing in the Microsoft environment. I think they haven't quite got there yet. You can kind of finagle it with other tools. But with that said, it's great to be able to just deploy this into a particular system. And I have done it through my RMM. So it's very easy to deploy and really just take over an account without the user even knowing. And not to say that maliciously, but it allows you to be able to really help gain that standardization as it happened. Has that been a feature that a lot of the partners really love, to take over local accounts? Or how have you kind of seen just the adoption of JumpCloud from transitioning from another vendor or another competitor per se?
Yeah, it's definitely a widely used and loved feature, I would say. And I think a lot of it just goes back to the ease of use, right? That we're giving you this functionality. We're also making it really easy for you to do. Adoption-wise, JumpCloud, we are the identity provider. And so everything starts with JumpCloud. So when we see an MSP bring a client on board, they're coming all on board, right? And then it's a question of how much of the platform are they adopting? And as we've made so many enhancements, things like the SSO library, we have now our own push MFA app. We're now seeing MSPs and their clients using the entire JumpCloud platform, which is really exciting.
Very cool. Go ahead, Rick.
I have a question. So if we use JumpCloud, I'm going to give you an example, and I'd like for you to tell me how JumpCloud will help me. I visited it
always starts with the laugh.
Yeah. Well, it's always a mess behind it all. But this is I visited a company that called me out for some other service. I noticed this. It's a 10 PCs, 7 users. They have a server, which is a 2012, which they only use for AD now. Like their line of business software is now cloud-based, so there's no storage on the server anymore, but they still use it because that's how the computers log in. That's how they log into the network. So in my thinking and talking, I said, okay, if you're not using this server, we can get rid of it and move it out. Now, would that be a case where JumpCloud would be able to help me basically to manage those systems that way?
Absolutely. And we have an ADMU, our AD migration tool. So we have a path and a plan to help you migrate over to JumpCloud. Another very cool point is you mentioned that I think they have 7 users. Is that correct? JumpCloud's free up to 10 users, and that's for our partners and their clients. So this would be a great option for them. You could get them on JumpCloud, and it would be at no cost, under 10 users.
Now, I'm playing the other side of this. I already know the answer to this, but I'm asking you. If I'm a MSP telling my client, what would JumpCloud do for me? If I tell them, hey, I think we should migrate here, what would JumpCloud do for me?
So I'm guessing they're on a legacy AD server, right?
Correct.
This is an on-prem server. I mean, what happens to old on-prem equipment? It fails.
It fails. Right?
And so, and when I think of how I talk to a client is different than how I talk to an MSP, right? Because that's the most tangible thing I think that we can take out to a client and they're really going to understand. So this is the keys to your kingdom, right? This old on-prem server. If this goes down, what's going to happen? Like that, in my mind, would be a natural place to start the conversation. And then you start getting into all the benefits of what JumpCloud can do beyond just the cloud directory piece, and start talking about things like the true identity management solution, the security, and then you can bring in things like SSO, like having a push MFA app, why you need MFA, why that's important, or multi-factor authentication. That would be my talk track.
Okay.
Now, shifting gears a little bit on how, just the MSP community, and as you know, Katie, being seasoned into kind of the industry itself, with when a MSP, an IT service provider, enrolls with a vendor, the common question is, are you channel only, or how can we protect our interest that you're not going to sell directly to our clients? Is there a process or a platform on being able to, once they join the partner program, to help be in that kind of ecosystem where they're getting as much resource and value from the business as much as them trying to support the JumpCloud mission as well?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a ton of benefits for our partners. Heather, do you want to speak to some of the things that are included in the partner program?
Yeah, definitely. So we are just getting ready to relaunch it. Partner programs are near and dear to my heart. I mean, I started out in distribution, so I feel like I was very close to almost every vendor and what their benefits were. So I really wanted to focus on something that would differentiate us from the market. So some of the things that we're doing are all the way down to, I was working with one of our customers last week where we did a full website audit for them and help make recommendations with sort of gotchas of things that may be losing them business that they never would have thought about. We have marketing investment opportunities, which everybody has. We do strategic business planning sessions with our partners now. We have kits to get them started with all the tools they need. And really the way we're approaching it is we're an extension of your team. So rather than having this sort of portal that you go to, which that is the goal, is that like there is some automation to it, you actually have people that are going to work hand in hand with you to make sure you're successful and really provide you with the tools you need to expand your business and training you need for areas that you may not have those resources. I mean, we know a lot of MSPs don't have a background in potentially sales or marketing or different things like that. So if we can step in and really help sort of fill that gap for you and get you comfortable with that motion, we're all going to be successful together.
Very cool. Now, as far as those that want to join the partner program, which I imagine is a little bit early as it's kind of coming out here soon, what would be the way for them to do so? Is there going to be any type of commitments, contracts, requirements for them to join the partner program with JumpCloud?
No. So basically everybody that signs on as a partner will come in at our lowest tier. And then you have the opportunity to graduate. So we wanted to make the barrier of entry very, very low and give the tools so people truly could expand with us versus making it where you have to go through like flaming hoops to even join. And we only did 2 tiers as well, because I mean, we all know half the time you don't even know what tier you're in when you have 5 of them. You're like, what gym am I? What metal am I? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So by reducing it to 2 and giving a very clear path to move up, we think it'll really benefit the community as a whole.
Very cool. Now, there's one thing that I absolutely love about your company and the way you offer your services is here at MSP Unplugged, we are a huge proponent on helping IT service providers, MSPs that are starting off or trying to figure out how to start their journey, whether they are part-time or they just started the adventure and are a one-person band. And so what JumpCloud has allowed the ability, as you just mentioned it earlier, Katie, is that your pricing is not only a low barrier of entry, which is free for 10 users, 10 devices, and it sounds like it's forever, is kind of the advertising on the website, but it allows you to grow with that platform with even more flexible pricing. And then you not only do you have your a la carte flexible pricing, but now you've actually built your platform ability of bundles to really help those that are trying to get to a particular place, and now you've helped them set goals. Can you talk a little bit more of kind of how JumpCloud came to that mentality or pricing structure? Is that kind of just how the culture is at the company? Kind of, can you tell me a little bit more on how that has come to be and how has the company received the feedback from those joining on from various journeys of an MSP's MSP life cycle?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are a PLG company, or product-led growth is what that means. And so we believe that whether it's an MSP or their end client, the best thing that we can do is get them in the product and show them how fantastic it is, how much it's going to help them and help their business. And then that JumpCloud usage is going to grow. And that's where this idea of the 10 users free comes from. It's really a part of our DNA. And what's very cool and unique about that is what you mentioned, especially when we look at maybe that MSP who's just starting out. This is a great way for them to build their business by leveraging those free accounts for small customers, and they can then grow into significantly more usage. I've been in the MSP community for a long time now, and I think the coolest thing for me personally is, I can remember 12 years or more being at a ConnectWise event or whatever it was, and meeting people who are just starting their MSPs or thinking about starting it. Like, hey, I'm doing this on the side. I might leave my full-time job. And since then, they've been wildly successful. They've grown this huge business and they've sold it. Like, I can think of a few people where that's the case, right? Like, that was their dream, or now they're building their empire. And so to see what we're doing at JumpCloud and that we're helping that next gen of MSPs, I think that that's fantastic. The second piece to that question was a bit about our pricing and the flexibility. And I think that's the headline and the takeaway there is that it's extremely flexible. About 85% plus of our partners who come in, they do leverage the entire JumpCloud platform. But we have another subset of partners where they're using us for a very specific use case across their entire customer base. They have a need for Radius, and we have a great solution. Or they have a limited SSO use case that they need across 10,000 users. We have the flexibility to deliver that too.
Very cool. Now, Rick, when you're looking into vendors that you're trying to adopt, because we've all been there for the last several months trying to figure out what do you implement in your stack, what really speaks out to you when you're looking into trying to figure out what's going to be the best fit for you?
Well, two things are important. One, the company needs to fill a need that you have. Two, and this is something that has become more and more important to me, is partnership. Vendors use the word become a partner, but sometimes you just become an account, right? And that drives me nuts, because if my business, my clients put their trust in me, and as an extension, I put my trust in the vendors, right? The vendors that I am quote unquote a partner with. And when I can't get help, it drives me absolutely nuts. And I don't necessarily mean someone has to pick up the phone and answer my call the moment I call. But there has to be a resource or someone acknowledges that I have an issue and they're trying to fix it. And I had this issue recently, which has forced me to terminate a relationship with the partner. And it wasn't that the product wasn't good, I will say, but it's to me a sign of things to come when there really is a more serious problem and I need help. So that is very important. And I'm sure it's important to most of the people in this community. So I guess that'll be the question. How do you guys support your partners?
Very well. So I completely agree. And there's multiple levels to it, right? You need to have the partnership and the right management on your account side so that when you have issues with a customer trying to sell to them, when you got issues with a bill, whatever it is, that you have someone that you know is going to jump on it quick. Then you need help when you're a new partner and you're trying to figure out how to roll out JumpCloud. Like, who's going to help you and make sure that this is done right? And then there's always going to be an issue that comes up. It doesn't matter how great the technology is. At some point, someone's going to have a problem, and you need to make sure that you can get to someone quickly on the support side. And JumpCloud does a very good job across all of those. The one piece that I would like to highlight, because it's a huge differentiator here, is the implementation engineering team we have that's available for our partners. And so the biggest learning curve when coming in and adopting new technology is learning how to deploy that technology correctly, right? And there's too many vendors where they point you towards a knowledge base or, an online learning system, and they say, have fun. And then you have a question, let me point you to this KB article. And it's like, if I wanted to read the KB article, I would have already done that. Like, either I don't want to, or it doesn't work, or I need more info. Like, come on. And we have the full learning solution. Like, JumpCloud University is fantastic. But what we also do is, you're a new partner, you come on board for at least your first 3 customers. We want to pair you up with an implementation engineer who has multiple sessions with you, to walk through the entire planning process, how to deploy this correctly and make sure it's all working. And those are implementation engineers. This is all they do. It's not like you're ending up with someone on our support team who's going to answer questions. It really starts the relationship off on the right foot, because we make sure that we understand your business, your client's use case, what they need, and that the JumpCloud system is going to be configured so that they're set up for success. So one example, but partnership is hugely important to us.
Right. And it just, again, using the word and following through on it they're two very different things.
Yeah. I mean, it just speaks to your support team. So our rep, Ricky Falk, he not only was he attentive to what we were trying to do, but he had the ability of getting someone on the phone for it. So we were using JumpCloud at one point. We tried Intune, pulled our hair out, went back to JumpCloud. And so, he was our new rep at the time. And he kind of was going through, he was ready to start hey, here's the intro call. And I said, well, I don't mean to cut you off, but we've kind of been there. We're just trying to get these certain places. He's like, totally get it. Let me see if I can get my implementation engineer. Sent the message, got him on, and we really got into the meat of everything because he understood that we understood the value already. And I can't say that is something that a lot of other vendors will do, because they're kind of structured on the path of what they want to take care of. Even if you've kind of been through the process, he was in tune enough to really understand what we needed and went that step further. And not only did he do that, he also, because we just had a busy year end before December, he was letting us know about some great value that was happening with the licensing over at JumpCloud. And the man called me 8 times that day to ensure that he got a hold of me to make sure that, hey, I just want to make sure I'm doing my due diligence to make sure you knew that, hey, if you got to do it this way, because if not, that we got some changes coming, I want to make sure you're in the best position to succeed with the platform. So that just shows the dedication that they have in making sure that for your success on being able to just utilize and really work with the platform. So that just attests on the support team, the culture, the company, and all the team members there. And as I mentioned, I think it was previous to the episode, me and Heather knew each other from the previous vendor that she was at before. So the fact that JumpCloud is attracting all of these great people is just speaking a testament to what's going on. And I think, Katie, you mentioned you just joined this past year as well. So it just says a lot for the company culture. So we're at the top of the hour, or the top of the half hour. Did you just have something, Rick? Oh, okay. And we're at the top of the close to the end of the show here. Is there anything that you want to share? Because I know there's so much that we can go over in JumpCloud. For those that want to know more about the technical features, check out our previous episodes. We had Chase Dowling on, who really went in depth on the platform and a lot of the great features. We hope to have them back on later on to kind of talk about any of the new features that are coming as well. But if there's anything that we haven't covered or really want to talk more about, is there anything that we didn't touch that you feel would be important for our listeners in this episode today?
I think this was all fantastic. I really enjoyed the conversation. If I could leave your listeners with 2 things, it would be, if they don't know about JumpCloud or they haven't actually used it themselves, we'd love for them to get a free account. So if they can go to jumpcloud.com, sign up for a free account, that would be fantastic. And then if they are interested in learning more about our true partnership, it is a true partnership here at JumpCloud, they can go to jumpcloud.com/partners and sign up to learn more.
Very cool.
And we just posted the link in the show notes. I mean, in the chat.
Perfect. Yep. And then we'll have all the show notes. And then as the partner program comes out, obviously we will make sure to update the show notes as well, and have that update on the episode as well for that. So ladies, if there are anyone that want to, you gave the JumpCloud website there, but if maybe someone wanted to reach out and just to talk to you a little bit more about JumpCloud, or just kind of what's going on as far as either the partner program, the marketing efforts, or just jumping on, what's the best way that they can reach out to you to just get a little bit more information?
Yeah.
Well, for marketing, I'll just put my email out there. I'm always willing to talk to anybody, heather.harlos@jumpcloud.com. So reach out to me. I'm here. I never really stop working. So anytime, day or night, I'm available.
That's true. She's supposed to be on vacation and she's sending me emails left and right.
I was gonna say on LinkedIn when I messaged her to see if about coming on the show, she's like, "Yep, I'm done." And it was like, and I sent her a late message. I was like, "I probably should have waited till the morning." And nope, she replied right there, and we got it all set up. So I appreciate that. It just shows the drive.
Yes. Same goes for me. Katie.Clouse@JumpCloud.com. Rick, I hope we can connect soon. I can teach you more here, but would be happy to talk to anybody who wants to learn more about JumpCloud.
Very cool. Again, really appreciate you all coming on to the show today. Rick, any lasting words?
No, I want to thank you guys for coming on. It was a good learning experience. My next is my my spiel every twice a week, and that is our upcoming show, TechCon. Again, I'll ask anyone if you have any suggestions, questions that you like to get answered or want us to make some changes on or look into, please send us an email, info@mspunplugged.com or rick@mspunplugged.com. Very
cool. Everyone, really appreciate everyone tuning in today. Come join us every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Central, Thursdays, 9 a.m. Central for both Tech Talk Tuesday and Resource Thursday, as we are now just our inaugural episode today. Watch the video podcast on youtube.com/MSP Unplugged. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification button so you never miss an episode, because sometimes we throw a few surprise ones here and there. Use your favorite podcatcher app to take us wherever you go. We are on Amazon Music, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. We just received a bunch of the previous episodes that were edited, that we were kind of in flux. We will make sure that we have those dumped, and we will be back on our regularly scheduled release, which will be a week after these episodes air on YouTube. Once again, we thank you for listening, and we will see you next time on MSP Unplugged.